Take my time to talk to me. You know? It's real shit. You hear that piano and shit playing? You know?
Majesty, you know what to do.
I'm just focusing on greatness. I watch the snakes gravitate, then they shapeshift. I've been walking on faith and it's all makeshift. The shit I'm spitting showing my age, but the flow's ageless. Jealousy is mixed with the hate, that's how they gauge shit. They got it motivating my pen, that's how I blaze shit. Britney got away with these words, and I don't waste shit. Success keep escaping a nigga, but I can taste it. My bars got them painting the pictures, I give them LASIK. It's hard for you to hate on a nigga, but God's graces. I'm trying to stay in step with my passion, it's large paces. Mama looking down from the heaven, your boy's patient. Just let the music be my therapist for therapy. I like to play from the pocket, don't let them worry. Cause I can hit on the run if they try to hurry me. My specialty is spewing out lyrics that bring me currency. A nigga really came from the bottom, you can't discourage me. Grave diggers clutching their shovels, they wanna bury me. Cause this is real shit, sinners in the pulpit. Everybody judging a nigga like that ain't bullshit. Lyrically I'm loaded, my nigga, this is a full clip. They claim they want smoke with a smoker until them tools lit. Never deviate from your dreams, that's how you...
Take my time to talk to me. You know? It's real shit. You hear that piano and shit playing? You know?
Majesty, you know what to do.
I'm just focusing on greatness. I watch the snakes gravitate, then they shapeshift. I've been walking on faith and it's all makeshift. The shit I'm spitting showing my age, but the flow's ageless. Jealousy is mixed with the hate, that's how they gauge shit. They got it motivating my pen, that's how I blaze shit. Britney got away with these words, and I don't waste shit. Success keep escaping a nigga, but I can taste it. My bars got them painting the pictures, I give them LASIK. It's hard for you to hate on a nigga, with God's graces. I'm trying to stay in step with my passion, it's large paces. Mama looking down from the heaven, your boy's patient. Just let the music be my therapist for therapy. I like to play from the pocket, don't let them worry. Cause I can hit on the run if they try to hurry me. My specialty is spewing out lyrics that bring me currency. A nigga really came from the bottom, you can't discourage me. Grave diggers clutching their shovels, they wanna bury me. Cause this is real shit, sinners in the pulpit. Everybody judging a nigga like that ain't bullshit. Lyrically I'm loaded, my nigga, this is a full clip. They claim they want smoke with a smoker until them tools lit. Never deviate from your dreams, that's how you lose shit. Heavy is the head with the crown, nigga, I rule shit.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the show. Tonight it's just me, myself, for right now. I don't know if Keisha or Dwayne is gonna join us, but we're gonna have a short little show in reference to The Shy, season 7, recap show, episode 5. Very, very interesting episode. I got a couple clips here that I'm gonna speak on that gives a little bit of context to some of the theories and thoughts that I have been saying, and in reference to the show. But I thought the episode, it's titled Safe Harbor, which I thought the episode was interesting. I'm not gonna say it was a great episode or bad. It was some things that definitely want to discuss about it. What's going on, Demarcus? I see you. Um Detective Tucson is back. I thought her introduction back into the series was kind of crazy. Yeah, Demarcus. Happy belated Father's Day, right? Yeah, salute. I thought Detective Toussaint's introduction back into the show was kind of cheesy. I thought it would have been like, a reintegration back into the show. Like, look, I've been doing other cases for 4 years. We got a cold case that Reg is back. I didn't know that they were going to try to tie in her son situation with Reg because we didn't never make that connection that her son and Reg even knew each other. So I thought that was a little different and odd. Her son basically saying, "Ma, if you find him, you could get me off." And then one of the things that I noticed on the replay was he was calling from the county jail. Dude, you was in the county jail for 4 years. Wouldn't you would have been what most people would say upstate or downstate? You would have been in prison like 4 years after you still in the county. So I thought that they could have done better with that. They could have did it a little bit better. And like I said, to tie Detective Toussaint's son, who basically we got introduced as that basically she was a cop investigating Brandon, saw the connection with Brandon and Duda. So she was on Brandon's uh top, basically got Brandon to work with her. And the backdrop to her story was she had a son that was in the street, but they never tied it before that her son and the whole mob was all connected. So I thought that was a little far fetched. They got to remember sometimes with these shows is that yeah, we're gonna talk about that, Demarcus, what you just put up. One of the things with these shows is that you have a very, very intelligent audience, and sometimes they don't get that the audience pays attention to every detail. So every detail matters. So I thought that was a little bit crazy. But definitely one of the things that Demarcus just brought up, right, was this scene. I have the picture. This scene was the most hilarious scene on the show. Like, what the hell was this? He literally said, by the power invested in me by www.letsdothis.com. That was crazy. That threw me for a loop. Like, where the hell? Like, this is how y'all bring Dante back in here? Like, you would have thought when Dante had that conversation with Tiff when she first started dealing with Rob was he was like, I'm your nigga. Like, you need me, I'm your nigga. Like, if you ever need something, I'm your nigga. But we ain't in a relationship. Like, I'm your nigga. So I thought that was crazy that they would even do that, bring Dante back. I would have thought they would have brought Dante back like when he heard Rob got killed, like just checking on her, like, yo, you got the baby, you good, everything all right, you need something. Because they had already showed Dante before at the lounge. So now that Tiff, his ex, his ex thing is running the lounge, you would think Dante would have pulled up and been like, look, everything all right, everything straight with you. So I thought that was kind of, far fetched. So the topic and title of this episode was Safe Harbor. You saw three different boats going on, and I know that's a Chicago thing where they would get boats and not even and have them docked in the Michigan River. And this is a Chicago thing that's very unique for people that's from Chicago. So I thought that was interesting that they would do a scene like that. That sometimes you got to explain to your audience um, that this is really a Chicago like cultural thing. Like get a boat for a week, or I mean, not a week, but a night. Just have a little party, or whatever. So you saw the different aspects of the boat. Thought it was crazy. I actually was looking at Darnell's small ass grill on that boat. That shit had me in tears. The grill was small as hell. But then you saw Reg and Jake sitting there scoping out all the players, which I think is interesting. You see them robbing ATMs, which it's kind of odd. And like I said last week, I really don't like Reg's character development. And what I mean is that when Reg left 5 years ago, Reg left episode in season two. It's a whole different show now. Not even from the show, but people grew up. This ain't the same Jake. This ain't the same Shy. So to have Reg come back and basically now you see him stunting Jake, which is so much different because even though he was hard on Jake, he would try to keep Jake in line with school, so forth, so on, doing what he was supposed to be doing. So now Reg don't got nothing and nobody. So he's using his little brother to rob. I thought that was crazy. So I just think the whole, Reg coming back the same type of guy is crazy. They was scoping the joint, and you could see where the Bakari thing, all that's going to come to a head. So you could kind of see where this portion of the show with Reg was more okay. We setting the table. What's going on? You even seen that when Nook and Zeke was talking, where he basically asked Nook, what's up with her, and he was talking about Alicia. And Nook is a very interesting character, but you saw towards the end that Zeke basically went over there and ingratiated himself to her, like, then said you need a ride because Rashad was all on the Sherm and he was all jacked up. But it's showing how Zeke is going to wind up selling out for the money, exposing the killers, as they say. I was so surprised that Alicia felt so comfortable with telling Zeke her plans and her motives as far as ridding Chicago of the killers. She made it seem like, she wants to kill. Like she said in the last episode, she wants to kill the killers, which is crazy. But she's so honest and raw. And it's like, you don't really know what Alicia's motive is for everything. Is it just the power? Is it a drug angle? It might just be the power and the influence of being able to control, being able to dictate what everybody else is doing. So that's a different angle of where her character development is going. Um, yeah, DeMarcus, having Lene and Papa double back like the energy, is a little crazy because we remember before, like when they first met. But then Lene dealing with Bakari, at the end of the day, Papa and Bakari is like brothers. And he was even staying there. And now he couldn't, we can't stay there because Papa's father is gone. But it's interesting how that's all gonna play out and everything. Yeah, DeMarcus, I could see that angle if Reg and Alicia teaming up. This would be a huge nightmare for Nook. Alicia could take out two birds with one stone by taking rid of Reg and Nook. But I don't know if Alicia would mess with Reg. Alicia is very calculated. She don't really mess with too much people that don't show some type of potential and growth to leave the street. Reg has a need and a want to have control of the mob. I don't even think it's about money with Reg. I think it's more with Reg. Reg is chasing the power. Reg is chasing control. Reg is chasing to assume his place, which is weird because at the end of the day, Nook did something that Reg wasn't even willing to do. So for him to try to go at Nook, like I said, Reg don't got nobody. He only got Jake to stunt. And one of the things that I noticed in this episode is that even looking when Tiff had Rashard and Victor smoking the mushrooms, it gave some insight on Rashad. You could kind of see where Rashad's character and Alicia ain't gonna be no further because Rashad is basically telling you that he's been chasing relationships looking for that mother in the relationship instead of having his own and building his own. He's looking for more of a mother instead of looking for a woman. And you see when Victor was in the bathroom and he was tripping, he was fighting his demons of being Trig. So you could kind of see, like, that Trig and having that rage. We never seen what made him Trig. We never seen what made him really leave in the first place, why it was always Reg and Jake. So you could see where that's going to come to a head because they're going to go at it over Jake. I know it was some previews where we saw that Jake punched the shit out of Reg. So I'm interested to seeing if that's next week's episode and how they try to tie all that in together. Yeah. Professor Gardner, did you realize Alicia is using Bakari as a pawn, DeMarcus? That is crazy, right? That is interesting. But even in her pawn, I mean, I think she generally wants to help. I think she generally wants to be able, and this could be a way that she's using her son getting killed's grief, because she knew Rob wasn't built for the street. I think she's using Bakari as like maybe her project. Like, we don't know like what's her end game right now. So I thought that was interesting. I think Bakari wanting to tell his story and not understanding that people write books for money. People just don't write books just to be writing books. So I think it's interesting what and where that goes. Thought it was odd that Keisha and had this conversation. Keisha and Tiff had this conversation, right? And she said, I don't know about Trey, Victor. Like, I just think he like tranny women. I just thought that was crazy because at the end of the day, you could see like in certain scenes what they're trying to do. Like, is this something there with Tiff and Victor? So the pull with, Nook, and then Nook trying to ingratiate himself. I thought it was kind of stupid to have Nook blow the boy head off, like shoot him in the head and then say Bakari better bury the body. Bakari sitting there shook. But it's funny because they got Bakari sitting there shook that Nook was so cold and reckless that did this. But Bakari is the same one that also killed Ronnie and shot Ronnie in the head, even though it was for Cookie. But like at the end of the day, he did the same exact thing. So it's like, okay, Nook is still putting these rules down, this law of how he gonna run the mob. Like, you killing the dude for being flashy, and then you got this cheap scene where everybody putting their jewelry away. Like, come on. They could have did a little bit better than that, but I get it. It is what it is. But like I said, I got something. I got a background scene from last week's episode. Actors talking about last week's episode. Tell y'all what y'all think. Let me tell y'all.
And Reg ends up being quote unquote the favorite.
He was always your favorite.
That's not true.
You ain't gotta lie, mama. Season 2, I didn't even really claim her as my mother.
For the last time, don't sell Peaches a thing, ever.
Because that's when I was trying to keep her out of your life.
My little brother Jake's mama. Trying to keep her alive, hoping she get us together and be a part of his life.
I was actually doing what you are doing now. You know what I'm saying?
Why you keep leaving her? Because she's sick.
But I'm trying to get better every day.
You clean now?
Does it matter?
It does, especially if she's gonna be around Jake.
I feel like he had good intentions behind it though. Like I kind of feel like he probably thought like her seeing all of us together would probably motivate her at least to shake her habit or something.
And I didn't necessarily know that you were going to react like that, saying our mother.
It's fine, I get that too, because he's the oldest, so he's probably done seen her quit it, relapse,
Exactly. He didn't have it the worst. You know what I'm saying? He dealt with it long.
He knows she isn't going to change.
The past is the past, Trey. You can't keep blaming me for everything.
You had kids with no intention of raising them. That's why you got 3 boys here pretending to be men.
I ain't pretending.
It was so much on Victor, just an opportunity to really let go and release a lot of the tension that he had been feeling.
She wasn't the perfect mom.
Boy, it's time to get over that. You don't tell me how to grieve.
What you grieving?
The life I could have had.
the way that we all grew up, it's not right.
Absolutely.
You know, but we're trying to make.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting on how they decided to bring that into the show and into what was going on. And like last week when Dwayne was here, Dwayne even spoke about how he really liked the scene with Reg even surprising him and bringing their mother into it. But DeMarcus, I'm gonna get to you and Michael's statement because I got some comments on it. But you said, yeah, Professor Gardner, aka Katina Harrison, Alicia, aka Lynn Whitfield, scene together was iconic. Yeah, it was a good scene, and I'm glad that they brought those two in, ingratiated them into the show. I think Kadeem Hardison is, we already know how we feel about him, all the way back to A Different World, and then Lynn Whitfield, she knows how to own the screen. So I really like their character trajectory and what they're trying to do. And Professor, and both of them, like I said, both of them for their own selfish reasons could be seeing something in Bakari that they both seen in both of their sons, that grief. I think they're touching on something. Lena may be touching on something there and trying to talk about that. Yeah, you're right, Michael. And I never saw you participate in what we do as far as reviewing the show. Usually Keisha and Dwayne are here, but I appreciate you tuning in and supporting what we're doing. But yeah, Mike, they took too long to bring Reg back. Shouldn't have offed him in the first place. Absolutely. That was one of the moves that she did that really didn't make much sense. And there was so much controversial behind it. Someone was saying that he didn't want to act and be in a relationship with a transsexual, and that's why he didn't want to be long on the show. But to bring Reg back, like I said, to bring Reg back with the same mindset from 4 or 5 years ago is just strange because literally, when you think about it, the whole Shy has changed. Not just the characters changed, the whole show, when you think about it, has made a pivot. It has made a pivot. We've actually transitioned from the younger actors being the focus, even Lena said, a coming of age story, to now basically talking about more of the adults. Remember, Jada had more of a bigger role even in the earlier seasons than she has now. DeMarcus, you said Peaches, Victor, Trig, and Vic Jake together trying to heal was priceless. Yeah, that was a good scene. I think that was some of the good things that Lena was trying to point on and be interested in. Oh, so the pass around got married to the girl brother. Well, the pass around, I mean, it's interesting how they are using Dom, aka Lala's role, because let's be honest, Tracy has been with more men than Lala. Lala just basically been with son and father, and now Victor Mensa, now Jamal. So it's interesting because Lala, like I said, Lala is considered this, promiscuous character on the show. And, basically they got married and even Jada, y'all remember Jada and Ronnie was going to get it on, but Ronnie got drunk. So we've seen Jada when she was dating the massage dude, when he was breaking her back out and or whatever, if y'all want to use those terms. So to pinpoint that Lala or Dom is the promiscuous one on the show, even by the show, is funny. I know the fans or the supporters, as I like to say, we usually point out the crazy stuff, but they even got her as like the show jump off, which is crazy. Hey, what's up, Nicole? What's going on? Yeah, Detective Tucson did lock up Big Mike in season 3. That was interesting to bring Big Mike back. Oh, Mike, Michael Lee, you just hit us with a wheel kick with what you just posted. But yeah, Big Mike had a decent role in this. Yeah, she was dating Swade. And Swade was falling for her, and then she basically didn't want to deal with Swade because she kept thinking Swade was too young after she got her the cobwebs knocked out. She basically thought Swade, that was just a sex thing. So it's interesting, like I said, how they're doing it. And even with Tracy, like on the boat, you see where Jada kept trying to give her the heads up, like, yo, Pastor Charles is sleeping with all these women. And it was cool as hell how when Tracy asked him how many women do you sleep with, he never denied what he did. He didn't even answer the question directly. Yeah, Michael Lee. Brandon, man. Wow, man. Brandon's character was great. Brendan's character was easy to root for when you think about his brother getting killed. And then you think about him struggling as a cook, then getting a lunch truck, then Otis Perry coming in, helping him. And, you know, that situation with Jericho, the two actors, what happened behind the scenes, you know, it basically was some, you know, allegations, and it basically knocked out two actors in one swoop. So it kind of like was crazy because we were seeing a whole different storyline with Jericho and what was going on with these houses and how they were swindling, and how the people were being forced out of their homes with gentrification and so forth and so on. And when you think about it and you look at it, man, that situation with, you know, Jason Mitchell really took this season, this show to a whole different aspect. And really, even when I was talking to Keisha and Dwayne about it, when you really think about it, we've had a couple bummer seasons. We've been doing our review show since season 2, but we've had a couple bumper seasons because we think the show had to make a major pivot. And the pivot actually took a while. And, you know, if you look at The Shy, this is the first year that The Shy got renewed for another season so fast. Usually they wasn't getting renewed till those numbers started coming in until episode 8, 7, 8, 9, stuff like that. This joint got renewed right after that great episode of episode 1. So it's interesting. Yeah, Nicole. I addressed that, like, you know, Dante saying by the power invested in me by www.letsdothis.com. And then after he married him, he said, now tongue your wife down. Like, come on. They could have did better than that. I would have felt better if they would have had Papa do the marriage. Like maybe he got ordained or something. But to have Papa do it, like they made these two's marriage comedy for a lot of us. And, you know, we could say they got married strictly for, you know, Jamal wanting to have sex with her, but they made the marriage a comical thing. And they didn't make, you know, and it allows them not to take the marriage as serious as maybe we might take their marriage. So I thought that was kind of like, come on, y'all could do better than that. But, you know, but anyway, you guys, I mean, he might be. I mean, he might really be ordained. I mean, it might be a real marriage. I mean, I don't know. Like, they never even showed us a background how Jamal and Dante would know each other. I thought it was interesting. You know, like you said, DeMarcus, they could have had Charles even do it. It just was. I know for y'all and myself, I'm quite sure when you saw Dante step up, it was crazy. And then they had the mandatory quote unquote 2 witnesses. It was Lene and Papa. Come on, y'all. They could have went to City Hall and did that. Like, come on. Hold on. And Nicole, he was talking like he was ordained. He was talking like a preacher. He was probably high. Probably had cotton mouth from all that weed. But anyway, like I said, Dwayne and Keisha are unavailable tonight. So it was interesting if Charles and Dante team up at Pastor J. But you know the funny thing is that's not really Dante's role. That's why it seems so crazy. Like I said, typically you would have thought Dante would have popped up once he heard Rob got killed. and checked on Tiff and made sure she was all right. Well, like I said, one thing about The Chi is they'll have actors come on and then they may not have a bigger role for Dante right now. It may never happen, but as long as you got him on the show, you could always increase his role. If basically the fans, we watch the show. We the ones that really like the characters, and we suggest the characters. Like I said, I don't know. Michael, I agree with you. For this show to become interesting, Papa need to become a darker character. The church storyline is boring. Not only is it boring, one of the things, and I have a clip in reference to what you're saying, Mike. I personally, this is my personal opinion. It's not the opinion of Keisha and Dwayne. I personally have always thought Lena has an issue with the black church. And I have a clip where she's talking about my theory because it always seems like it's always something negative about the church. And be that as may, you even saw where Papa's father was corrupt. Like, you killed him off, and then you bring two more ministers who are corrupt. One chasing money, the other chasing sex. Like, come on. But this is the clip that Lena says in reference to the church.
Really more about what will the neighbors think. And that's a different kind of religion.
Yeah.
And that is one that in some black households, it's about keeping up with the Joneses. It's about what do people say. And when you are a queer person, you have to have such a detachment from what society says about you because you are going against what society tells you to be.
Do you know where that comes from for black people, though?
White supremacy.
It comes from slavery.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a leftover from slavery. And we haven't cleaned it up
We
yet.
have not. We still carry that. Because again, we define ourselves as black, as queer, as woman. But the thing is, when we use these terms to identify ourselves, the question becomes, well, how do you define black?
Pew, 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 pew.
How do you define queer? How do you define woman?
Pew, pew.
Because we all have different definitions of what is it to be a good black.
I think that, I'm not going to play it all, but I thought that her talking right there gives us some perspective in her creative mind of what her vision is, not only for all her shows, but in this show in particular, definitely when you think about the dynamics of the church being an integral role in the show. And, you had the transsexual aspect when it comes to the individual that Victor's character was dealing with. But like I said, and I agree with Michael, is Papa's character. Like, a lot of us don't like Papa no more. Like, because like we remember that one scene with Papa when he dressed up like Biggie. Like, that's where he was lovable. But they all grew up. They're grown now. Like, you could see where Jake is grown. You see where Kevin grew up before he left the show. So where Maisha grew up before she left the show. You see it even when they go back to old episodes, and now we're seeing Papa, and it's like he's at a standstill. Like, where are we going with Papa? You keep trying to find these girls for him, and it's like he can't develop a chemistry with a girl, and like he had the one girl, and then his father said no because of Zeke. The girl started messing with Zay, and now the girl ain't in the show no more. So it's interesting. It's interesting where they're gonna go. So I'm interested to see how they decide to do it. I mean, he had Nicole. The thing about it is, remember, him and Lene was first, and then that didn't do anything because it wasn't going nowhere. Because then Lene started dealing with Bakari. So to double back on Lene, that may be Papa's missing something they might want to touch on. That Papa's basically alone. Like, Jake got his shit going on, Kev is gone, Maisha's gone, everybody's gone, and just Papa just alone right now. He ain't got nobody. Hold up. Michael, they might need to reboot the show with the new generation of kids growing up. The old characters need to retire. I don't think they're gonna do that. I don't think they're gonna go to that extreme. I think that when you're dealing with a show that grows with the characters and they were the focal point, you have to look at character development within the show as they age. I think that even when you go back to Emmett, Emmett's character projection was really good. I mean, but now you could see where they're trying to make Emmett this husband. They keep talking to Emmett about being wife and Keisha, wife and Keisha, wife and Keisha, making her whole, being a wife. So you know that there's gonna come. I actually saw the preview where it's a ring. So that's gonna be interesting. Like I said, the whole Emmett character is the projection is crazy and what they want to do. Even with what they did with Keith last week, you showed Keith a lot with Tracy, and then this week we didn't even see Keith in the whole episode. So it's like, where they going with this? Whose returns of character was more impactful? Lamar, B. Mickey, Reg, or Unique? DeMarcus, I don't want to mix shows. Respectfully, bro. I don't want to mix shows because I don't watch BMF at all. But anyway, guys, for those that don't know, what we do is we rate the show 1 to 10. 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. I'm gonna rate this week's episode before you guys tell me what y'all gonna rate them. I'm gonna rate this episode a 4. I thought this episode was like, okay. It was a typical 5th episode. Like I said, some of the punchlines, the storylines for the season, you could see them forming in this particular episode. So I think it's going to be interesting. Well, DeMarcus, I could understand why a lot of people don't like The Chi. It's because The Chi is not like, it's not a drama show. It's more of a show about a subculture of this particular area in Chicago. And a lot of us, we like a lot of shows that are sex, drugs, and violence. We love that. I mean, we could say we don't, but the reality is that we love shows where it's a lot of gunplay, it's a lot of violence, it's about jail, it's about the streets, it's gritty. That's what a lot of people like. And this show may have that to an extent, but this show is not about that. Nicole, you messing with me for my rating of a 4? Or that's yours too? Yeah, I'm giving it a 4. I didn't think it was that great of an episode. Like I said, I gave episode 1 an 8. Like, you know, these ratings don't be easy for me. I rate the show, and I'm quite sure Dwayne and Keisha feel the same way. We rate the show to a high standard. Like Dwayne only gave a 10 out one time, and it was the Christmas episode from season 5. I gave Power Book 2 a 10 on their first ever episode, and that was the first time I ever gave a 10. DeMarcus said it was an 8. See, DeMarcus got a high rating system. He liked the show. He's somebody like me. Like, you know, you watch the show, you like it, you into it. Can't wait till it drop on Friday, and then you watch it 2 and 3 times. So sometimes people like I could deal with The Chi. The Chi, like I said, if you could deal with season 4, 5, and 6. No, let me say 3, 4, and 5. Those were rough seasons for The Chi. It was times we would be doing shows, and I'd be like, I don't know if we could do this, because that whole Keisha being kidnapped season, that was a bore. Michael said The Chi fell off after season 3, cut off a lot of storylines which we actually cared about. Getting rid of Reg and Brandon, and then the cops made this show boring. Well, you know what's funny? I thought the cop angle made the show good with Detective Cruz and Toussaint. But their characters were tied with, Brandon was tied with Toussaint, and Detective Cruz was tied with Ronnie, and how Ronnie played him on killing Kookie. So I thought it was interesting that, you know, they never showed Detective Toussaint or Cruz since then, because their stories were so tied up in them. Nicole said, I give it a 7. It was okay. I could watch the episode again. Couldn't say that about Power. Easy, Nicole. Easy. Be nice. Be nice. Be nice, Nicole. Michael, I want you to tell me your rating, bro. I mean, it is what it is. Whatever your rating is, that's your rating. We don't judge nobody's rating. I'm waiting. Nicole said, I'm waiting to see what happens again. Well, DeMarcus, yeah, you can see a show that's a 4. I mean, when you look at these shows, right? You say, for example, The Chi this year has 12 episodes. Every episode ain't gonna be a banger. I mean, they got to build up. One of the reasons why I gave episode 1 such a high rating was what they did in episode 1 and 2 is they closed out every storyline from last year, and they took off exactly from last year. It was on the heels of Rob's murder. So that's why I thought that was good. Even in this season, you see what they did. They fast forwarded 6 months, went to Mother's Day show. They went to the baby shower show, and then they went to the Mother's Day show. Because they needed to speed up some of the storylines. So now they're painting the picture of some clashes that's going to happen in the next 7 episodes. So with that, I thought I don't think they were great episodes. I think it was a good episode. 4 is good. I know it may seem a little harsh, but 4 is good. Yeah, The Wire, you know what's funny, Michael, when people talk about The Wire came at a time when, think about it, The Wire used to come on Sunday night. We were still on analog. People weren't streaming. You couldn't steal The Wire. And The Wire came at a time, and then when The Wire and what David Chase and them did is The Wire came from that documentary, The Corner, talking about the inner city of Baltimore. The only problem that I ever had with The Wire is that the original people, Avon Barksdale, he never got any credit from The Wire. They never got money. They used their characters because their characters were in public record. These was really people that was getting locked up and getting into crime back there. So I thought that was interesting. Like I said, The Wire came at a very interesting time. And then when you think about it respectfully, right? And we had this conversation, Dwayne and I, HBO has never made bad shows. HBO has never made bad shows. We talk about Oz, The Wire, Boardwalk Empire. The HBO really, really does pretty well with shows. And even Showtime, for the most part, does well with shows. If you were a Billions fan, Billions went left, but Billions was actually good. It was a pretty decent show. What's the other show that a lot of the females used to watch? I can't remember offhand. Yeah, they never made bad shows. They made bad final seasons because a lot of times they don't know how to close them out. And Billions was on Showtime. Excuse me for that. But even with Homeland was good. Dexter was good. You know, Dexter came from CBS and then went to Showtime, but still they were good. The reason why a lot of shows don't know how to close out is because they usually be contract disputes with writers and or actors, and it doesn't seem right when certain actors are not in the show. Marcus said it would be interesting if Rosalind Perry think that Reg took out Duda and used Tucson to arrest or take out Reg. No, you got to remember, Rosalind worked for Alicia. Alicia was always pulling the strings. Duda just didn't boss up to Alicia. Remember the character, and me and Keisha and Dwayne always talk about this. Remember the character that was the original boss in season 1 where Duda went to the prison and seen. They never showed him again. They never showed that character again. That wasn't Q. That wasn't the great actor Steve Williams. That wasn't Q. That was a different actor, and he was in jail, I guess, for life, and they never showed it. Yeah, Ballers was a decent show. I appreciated Ballers a lot. I mean, like I said, sometimes that money, man, we see that in Power. stars don't want to pay the actors, and now Stars has basically broke away from Lionsgate and want to be separate. Even though Lionsgate was the parent company, Stars don't want to pay actors, and then after these actors been on these shows for 4 or 5 seasons, Stars is like getting rid of them. I personally think that's one of the problems with the Power universe. I think going into all these different shows is kind of like taking away from what made us Power fans. It was gritty. It now it's lacking something. But with that being said, I'm gonna close out. Appreciate you guys. You guys got any final thoughts or comments? Put them up real quick, and I'll read them and give you my thought on what you say. But if not, I'm gonna close out, and we'll touch back up on a review show this week. We're gonna have some different stuff on the channel, like I used to before. I just been really, really busy the last year. Honestly, I've been really busy the last year, and I'm about to get back to actually doing probably 4 or 5 shows a week like I used to do that. Walter Dunsburg was the 63rd Mile. Yes, Walter Dunsburg. That was the brother that was in the jail. Yeah. Well, Mike, I appreciate you, bro, but you know they're gonna have another Power prequel. Origins is coming. Origins is in production now. That's coming after. That's gonna come right after last season, next year's last season of Raising Kanan. So, and then they just said that they call them the Power Legacy, which they're saying that Joseph Sikora and Michael Rainey are going to be in that. So that's going to basically be, word is that according to Deadline, that they're going to be going to California, which is where Tommy originally was going, if y'all remember. So with that, you guys have a great week. See you guys next week. And remember, man, every Monday we try to do the show. Sometimes we'll do it on Sunday, which is the day. But if we don't do it on Sunday night at 8, we definitely going to do it on Monday. Like I said, the other 2 co-hosts, I thought they was going to be able to be here, but, some scheduling things didn't work out. But until then, you guys take care and have a good week.
Majesty, you know what to do.
I'm just focusing on greatness. I watch the snakes gravitate, then they shapeshift. I've been walking on faith and it's all makeshift. The shit I'm spitting showing my age, but the flow's ageless. Jealousy is mixed with the hate, that's how they gauge shit. They got it motivating my pen, that's how I blaze shit. Britney got away with these words, and I don't waste shit. Success keep escaping a nigga, but I can taste it. My bars got them painting the pictures, I give them LASIK. It's hard for you to hate on a nigga, with God's graces. I'm trying to stay in step with my passion, it's large paces. Mama looking down from the heaven, your boy's patient. Just let the music be my therapist for therapy. I like to play from the pocket, don't let them worry. Cause I can hit on the run if they try to hurry me. My specialty is spewing out lyrics that bring me currency. A nigga really came from the bottom, you can't discourage me. Grave diggers clutching their shovels, they wanna bury me. Cause this is real shit, sinners in the pulpit. Everybody judging a nigga like that ain't bullshit. Lyrically I'm loaded, my nigga, this is a full clip. They claim they want smoke with a smoker until them tools lit. Never deviate from your dreams, that's how you lose shit. Heavy